This is SPY on the 5-minute time frame. Here are your price targets for Monday. We ended the week at $625.34, up 0.79%. Now, to the north side, at another level of resistance and a potential take profit area, would take us to 2 standard deviations, which is roughly 626.51. Above that takes us to another level of resistance and a potential sell limit area at 628.18. And should we be so lucky as to get to 4 standard deviations on Monday, that would be 629.65. To the south side, back at the middle of the trend, the median, the baseline, where price will rest and potentially bounce off of as support, 623.56. And then below that begins a gap to the downside because we gapped up on Thursday, July 3rd. So going down takes us to 622.43, and that gap closes out at 620.53. And then below that, at another potential buy-in area, a pullback area, a potential stop loss area for those of you who bought higher would and then are trying not to, stay in that trade. If you're day trading, trying to get out, but you set your stop loss, 618.78 and roughly 617.28. Looking left, you can see here we're just inching upward and then fell. This is resistance, so I will anticipate that. And then resistance up here, a clear sell signal down here. This gap that I mentioned that I have not cleaned up because I have not looked at SPY. Okay, I'll do this on a different time frame because I can't keep pulling this back. This will be changed, but this gap closed to the downside at 615.23. We still have this landmine to the south side, but if you like to go short or buy on a pullback, there it is. And then we have some other ones down here. Now let's flip this over to the 15 and see if I can see this entire gap. Oh, here we go. So this gap, I'll just actually go to the 30. All right. Ignore all these other markings. I've looked at this many times, but it hasn't been looked at in a little while. So this gap started on, let me get rid of this. I hope you had a great 4th of July, by the way. I'm still traveling, checking out my rental, and thought I would just quickly try to make a video here. So this started on February the 20th and took us to 612.51, and it finally closed out on June the 26th. So congrats there. That is no longer in play. And let me just go to the daily. What is happening here? Oops. Daily. And while I'm here, let's give you price targets on Monday. So to the north side, we've got 645.49. And that takes us down to 598.74 for a pullback. So we have been all over the place here with SPY. We've got a couple gaps even down to here, but I don't know. Now that the big, beautiful bill has passed, hopefully the stock market will rip on Monday. And speaking of the bill, Musk, made his first comment since it passed, and he backed Senator Rand Paul, who opposed the bill, and says that the bill's budget explodes the deficit and continues a pattern of short-term politicking over long-term sustainability, and that it could add 3.4 trillion to the 36.2 trillion US debt over the next decade. This spending is out of control. It's just like the HOA. You've never seen an HOA roll back their dues. It just doesn't happen, because all they do, and just like the government, when they get people's money, just spend, and then blame it on the people for the spending. All right. On the daily, we are frothy. We are at resistance. We are overbought. We could go up higher to pull back again. So watch out for that. Now, I'm going to go over. Let's go over Tesla very quickly just because of the bill and Elon's comments. So on the 5, today, okay, we've got this gap. Let me just extend it real quick. To the north side, 324.86. Then we have another level, 332.36. And don't hold your breath, but that would be nice, 339.41. Of course, we could get there at some other point, but I don't think so on Monday. And if we do, and a wick takes us there, you can expect a pullback after that. Let's mark this out. Here's your pullback. And to the south side, oh wait, the middle of the trend, I can't forget that, is now here. And we are so close to this other one that I drew out on the 6th of January. I'm just going to delete it. All right, and then to the south side, 295.78, 288.52, oops, and 280.96. So we've got this gap to contend with, and when I last looked at it, price was at 317.66, but we've gone down and then clawed back up. And Trader Marat pointed out a golden cross on the daily. And let me just flip it over really quickly. But we've had resistance up here and a sell-off and a buy-in at a clear area right here as well. And this turns into resistance, busted through. And now hopefully we're on our way here on Monday. But on the daily, okay, ignore all that hot mess. Okay, it's, again, very difficult for me to see this because I've charted it out so many different times. But anyway, just note that, and hopefully better days are ahead for Tesla, as well as many other companies starting to chug along here. And that's Tesla. And the other one I wanted to go over, thanks to Trader Marat for pointing this out. Back on July 1st, I did not have time to make a video because I left town. And he said that he thought Apple will go up to 221. And then check out NVIDIA, MU, CN, and CN is on. Look for a golden cross. So take a look at that. But very quickly, I'm going to give you some targets here, and I've got to go because my guests are waking up. It's 215.68, 219.08, 220.97, and then an area we've been to in 2024 at 22.67, and 212.01, 210.38, and 208.50. What did I say? 50. Oh, sorry, 72. Now, the next ticker I also want to go over will be NVIDIA, MU, and a couple of other ones. That is it for now. Thank you so much for checking this out, and have a great trading week.